Welcome to Your Future Starts Now, the go-to podcast for extraordinary women who are ready to step into their next chapter with authentic confidence. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua, empowerment coach, motivational speaker, children's book author, and girl mom. Whether you're a corporate powerhouse or an entrepreneur, this show is designed for you. Your Future Starts Now is more than just a podcast. It's a movement towards rewriting the rules of success for high-achieving women. Are you ready to get unstuck and step into your next chapter? If so, you're exactly where you need to be. Your future starts now. Welcome to Your Future Starts Now. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Christina Woods to the show. Christina is an internationally recognized clinical hypnotherapist, rapid transformational therapist, empowerment coach, and Reiki master. She empowers women to overcome self-sabotage, break free from limitations, and discover their inner strength to create fulfilling lives. As the founder of Wise Woods Hypnotherapy, Christina's signature method combines hypnotherapy, coaching, and energy healing for profound personal transformation. Christina, welcome to the show. So happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here, Gia. I appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to chat with you and learn more about the work that you do. So tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to where you are today.
Yeah, so I am a clinical hypnotherapist and an empowerment coach like you, and I do energy healing. And this is my second career. I had a 30-year corporate life prior to this life. That feels like a completely separate life, but of course,
Yeah.
I sort of integrate all those things together. And what brought me here was that journey through, I grew up with a single mom, the oldest of four. So that holds a lot of responsibility.
Sure.
And I grew up really with that belief, a lot of responsibility tends to develop a lot of overachievers. You work with high achieving women. And sometimes what creates from that childhood is this belief that if we are perfect and we overachieve and we're the good girl, then life will turn out great. And it did, and got a lot of praise for that. And I became an overachiever, perfectionist, worked and climbed my way up, and just got to a point in the corporate world and in my health world, and my marriage fell apart, and a lot of things happened that led me down a journey of getting to a point in my late 40s, which is very common, where many women will say, gosh, is this really what I want to do? Is this what I want? And what do I really want? And from there, I really dug deep and thought about what I really wanted. And I really wanted to learn from the lessons I had in my life and what did create that I have to be perfect and all that pressure and all the stress and anxiety that was really people pleasing the heck out of everybody else except myself. And that led me down a journey of finding hypnotherapy and some of the methods I use now. And here I am.
That's amazing. I love that. So you and I have similar background. I was in corporate for nearly 20 years in the healthcare industry and decided to transition out as well. And so it's not an easy transition, right? And I know a lot of people think about doing it, but not a lot of people actually take that leap. So I do want to jump into hypnotherapy, but before we do, tell us just a little bit about your transition from the corporate world, being a high-powered corporate executive, and then stepping into this new world of being a hypnotherapist and a coach, and how that shapes kind of the work that you do.
Yeah. So, the transition required that I dig deep and really find out, you have to certainly you have to have a lot of confidence, and there's the belief that, gosh, am I going to be good at anything else? And this is, becomes your identity. And it's something you can do with your eyes closed after a while. I did it for 30 years, and it becomes, well, this is what I do. This is what people know who I am. And so I had a lot of compassion for myself and built a lot of compassion and quiet time to realize a lot of the beliefs that I had about myself, all the validation that I was getting was outside circumstantial power, circumstantial validation. And I had to really turn that inward and start to validate who I was from the inside out. And from that came this power that, wow, all the things that made me successful, I can translate that into so many other things. And, that's always there if I want to go back. But what happens when you start to love yourself when you pivot and you have a change in perspective, then you get to see things differently. And just that change in perspective. And I realized a lot of the beliefs that I had about myself weren't even true. And that's really what stemmed how I found hypnotherapy and why I felt it was so important to share with other people, is that there are so many of us walking around with beliefs that we think are true about ourselves that aren't even true. And, we build these castles around ourselves, or walls, if you will.
Yeah.
And once we realize they're not even true, we can pivot and have such a different life or a different experience and attach different meanings to things.
Yeah, I love the way you described it. And, I think the way I think about it is living inside out versus outside
Mhm.
in,
Mhm.
right? Which is a very different perspective on life. And I think you're right. A lot as high achieving women, we carry these beliefs, thought patterns, and habits and identities of who we once were or who we were told we were, right? Or who we're told we're supposed to be. And we carry that into our adult life and we never stop to question, is that who I am? Is that who I want to be? And so I think that's a really great point that you made around the identity piece.
Yeah, even self-care. I was raised, no fault to my mother, but a single mother of four. She certainly didn't have a lot of time for
Sure.
self-care. That wasn't in the schedule or the calendar.
Yeah.
So, but that was my role model for self-care. And so when I became, a corporate woman and a mother myself, I thought that that was what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to travel all week, work 60, 70 hours a week, and also bring orange slices to the soccer game and act like you're not tired, and write the report Sunday night for the Monday sales meeting, and, make a casserole, and, help your son with his diorama, and, look cute. So, all these
Sure.
things, and then forget self-care. That wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah.
So, these were the things that when I realized, wait, I I get to take a bath and I get to not feel guilty about it. These are deep beliefs. I mean, most women I work with say, "Well, yeah, I go to the gym." Okay, well, this is different. Quiet time is different. And really believing that, it's not a selfish thing. We all read about it and hear about it, but do we take action and embody that?
Hmm. Yeah, and I love what you just said because I think it's so relatable, and I could hear some of our listeners right now. I'm going to ask the question that probably some of them are thinking in this moment, which is, well, isn't that what it's about, Christina? Isn't it getting the sales report ready on a Sunday night? Isn't it baking the casserole and making cupcakes for the bake sale and working on the diorama and showing up to all my meetings? Isn't that what it is? Isn't that what I signed up for? What would
Hmm.
you say to them?
Well, I would ask, are you present? Are you present? Are you checking the box? And to what level, when we take a moment and we breathe, when I look back at all those things, because I thought the same thing, and no shame in doing all those things. There's no judgment whatsoever here. But how present are we in those moments? Doing the diorama, baking the casserole. Are we, you know, food can be and making a meal with your family and eating that meal and not scarfing it down. And what kind of conversation are we present? Are we really, embodying that moment? Because I don't know about you, I
Yeah,
was just, can we get this homework assignment done as fast as we can? And, if that means I'm gluing on the little baby trees because I've got to do a report, I'm going to glue on the baby trees
yeah, going through
because
the motions,
I got to
right?
go to bed.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
And you just do what you have to do,
Right.
and so, and losing perfection, because there's the judgment that we have. And I know, looking back, I can remember a moment when my son said, "Mom, can you just have I want you to have your Costco hair this weekend." And I thought, what is he talking about? And it was, he wanted me to just be footloose and fancy free. I guess when I went to Costco, I just threw it up. And he didn't
That's
want me to,
amazing.
look cute and perfect. And
Yeah.
he just wanted his mom and just throw his hair, throw the hair up, not be perfect, nothing. We all have those friends who, their house looks messy and you're thinking, gosh, I would never have people over when my house looked like this. They don't care, but they're relaxed. They're enjoying the moment. And, there's something to be said about that.
Oh, it's so beautiful. You made me laugh when you said that because it's so true. Like our kids' perception of us, right? They don't care about perfection. They don't care about what you look like, right? The fact
Mm-hmm.
that he recognized your Costco hair, right? Like the messy mom bun. That's the version that he wanted. That's incredible.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. So let's talk about the work you do and hypnosis. So for those who may not be as familiar, can you tell us a little bit what is hypnosis? How does it work? Maybe a little bit about the science behind it.
Yeah. So there's a beautiful place. Our mind consists of our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. And I think we've all seen that picture of an iceberg where there's a little bit sticking above the water, but the bulk of it is below the water. And our subconscious mind is what's submersed below the water, excuse me. And what's nice about hypnosis is there's this little place where we can go very quickly. It's a very natural state. I think we all have watched the horror Netflix movies about hypnosis, or the silly person at the carnival that makes everybody act like a chicken, and
Sure.
that's entertainment purposes. But in hypnosis, we're able to access the subconscious mind, which is really our emotional mind. Our thinking is our conscious mind, which we do need that analytical mind, but 95% of how we think about ourselves, how we view the world, the filter in which we have all of our emotions, really 95% of everything is our subconscious mind. So when we want to make an impact, make a change, stop believing certain things about ourselves, or really stop beating ourselves up, why do I keep eating that or doing that or saying that or feeling that? Then we're able to access the subconscious mind and find out, well, let's get to the root of why you feel that way or believe that way, or a moment in time that you attached a meaning or something that happened, and we can make a big change. Our mind learns by repetition, and we're able to give your mind really powerful words. What's cool about the subconscious mind is that it must accept what you give it. The opposite of that is it must accept what you give it. So if we're giving it negative words, negative thoughts, things that aren't even true, it's going in, everyone. It's going in. Whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, it's going in like lotion on dry skin. But when we know what's going in, we can say, wait a second, that's actually not the truth. Let's give it the truth over and over in an audio recording, and let that go in. So that becomes your new truth.
Wow, so powerful. I love how you described it. And I would love to know, based on the work that you do with women, how do you support your clients with hypnosis? What are some of the biggest things that you work with them on?
The biggest is I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I can't stop controlling everything. Please make it stop. It's exhausting when we live a
Yeah.
life where we feel like we need to control everything. And this is coming from a self-proclaimed control freak, and I think being high achieving, we feel like no one else is going to do it. I have to do it. So I work mostly with high achieving women. Procrastination creeps in,
Mm.
but that feeling of imposter syndrome, am I enough? Can I keep up? And this filters in and ripples into love or money or relationships, having deeper connections. But at the end of the day, I think we connect hypnosis with, okay, I want to lose weight or stop smoking. But these are really deep issues. We all want connection and to avoid rejection. And the epidemic out there is feeling worthy or feeling enough. And when you feel worthy or you feel enough, procrastination starts to whittle away because you're not afraid of doing the work or showing up, doing that project, posting that thing, whatever, showing up for that meeting, doing whatever you need to do because you're enough. So the way I work with women is to find out what's the root behind it. You can do affirmations, you can do a lot of work, but if we're not getting to the root, if we're not gardening and pulling out the root, it's just going to grow back. So in hypnosis, we can very quickly and rapidly get to the root and then change it through an audio and coaching and empowerment tools to really make a big change. I think the words we say to ourselves are one of the most rapid ways we can make a change.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think that, the words we choose are very important. And to your point, we don't even realize some of the things that we're telling ourselves, the stories we're telling ourselves,
Yeah,
right? About who we
absolutely.
are and who we're not.
Absolutely. And I find so often that we're not even feeling our feelings. So,
Mm,
one of the ways I'll work with women and is to have them journal how they're feeling, because, we don't want to feel some of these icky feelings, or, we're busy, we're successful. That feeling is sort of a nuisance or gets
yeah,
in the way, or why would I want to feel something that doesn't feel good? I'd rather feel this positive feeling, and and not dwell on that feeling that makes me not feel good. But actually, when we feel that feeling, we know it moves through us much, much
yeah.
quicker. We feel to heal. I think we've all heard that at one point. So even the journal prompt, I, Gia, or I, Christina, feel, and allow ourselves to feel. I have a house full of journals that would probably make everyone think I'm a very angry person, but this is how we express ourselves. And to write,
Yeah.
I feel because, and get that out. And even to ask, as we're moving through that, ask that feeling, how old are you? And to really, you'll really start to have some moments where you say, wow, that feeling feels like when I was 12 or when I was 15. And you just start to see some connections of where things connect and where they started.
Yeah, it's incredible. Very relatable. I mean, I would say a couple things. One is, I think as women, we have learned to suppress or repress, our emotions that maybe are not acceptable or
Yeah.
create discomfort, right? The ugly, quote unquote, ugly emotions. And so we don't want to bring those up. And then once we, realize that, well, the being on the go and the doing and the going gives us quote unquote success, that external success, the achievement, accomplishment, it's driven by the adrenaline, right? By the endorphins, the dopamine, right? That's, to your point, that's the feeling we like. And then
Yeah.
stepping into that feeling of discomfort and unknown is really, really hard, especially for high achieving women. And the other thing I would add, which I think you touched upon that's really important, is even just for some of us being able to identify what the feeling is can be really challenging.
Yes. Yeah. I have started a little book club, and we were talking, and just even talking about the feelings, I think someone said, well, I feel guilty about that. Wow, where did that come from? Because
Yeah.
she was talking about another feeling, but then noticing another feeling popped up, and you know, getting curious about your feelings. Just saying, "Hey, I'm curious about that." We don't always necessarily, just that alone will allow you and give you permission to explore your feelings. And our feelings are real, but they aren't necessarily the truth about the situation. And one thing to understand, and why hypnosis is so powerful, is that the mind will validate whatever we're feeling. It will look for evidence to back up how we're feeling. So that is, where that self-fulfilling prophecy will come in. If we believe that, I'm not going to get any support, I need to be the control freak. I used to make a list of every little thing my children needed and every little snack they had to have, and tape it all over the door, as if my husband couldn't, make a snack or didn't know where soccer practice was. That wasn't the truth, but I believed it. And then the day I didn't do it, he would call me 12 times and ask me. And that was the evidence I needed to say, see, I needed to do that, because it
Mhm.
validated it. But I had created that
Yeah.
scenario and that evidence. And so,
Yeah.
but when you step back and you realize, wait, I'm worthy of support, and I'm worthy of these things. But this is the mind giving us evidence of a belief that I'm not worthy of support. No one is here to support me. And I created the life, I created this little world where, yep, you're on your own, kiddo. You better do these things. So when we start to change the meaning, I found a lot of support. I found a lot of people that will say, I got that. And then you trust it because you're worthy of support.
Yeah, it's a great point, that hyper independence, right? As high achieving women, we believe we have to do it all. We have to do it all on our own. Can't accept help, can't ask for help, right? Have to do it with a smile, have to look good while we're doing it. And again, that's a very difficult cycle to break. What advice would you give to women who feel like they're trapped in that cycle?
I would say push the pause button for a moment, acknowledge and just get curious about what you're feeling, and know that we get more of what we feel. And so if you are feeling lonely or alone or on your own, you'll get more of that feeling. So when you pause, so if you feel unsafe or not approved of or alone, just pause for a moment. And you can even ask yourself, when is the last time I felt supported? When is the last time I felt calm and grounded? Because a lot of times we don't feel grounded when we're frazzled and we're running,
Mm-hmm.
and doing so many things as high achieving and
Yeah.
juggling so many things. When is the last time I felt grounded and safe, or, centered and clear? And think of a moment when you felt that. And it might have been when you were petting your dog, or, speaking with a good girlfriend who said, No, girl, you got that wrong. Or, just really a grounding moment, walking in the park. And close your eyes and allow yourself to feel that moment. You can do this before a meeting. You can do this in the restroom. You can do this over coffee. What you're doing is you're bringing your cells, your body, everything back to a moment when you felt grounded and clear, and you allow your body to feel that. And I promise you, in 30 seconds, you will pivot and then reassess the question, the moment, whatever the thing is that you were thinking about. And you will look at it differently. You will look at it more
Mm-hmm.
clearly. You will be able to say, okay, wait a second, because you will get more of what you feel. So if you feel a certain way going into a meeting, hold on, let me pause. When's the last time, a moment where I felt really confident or really sure of what I was saying and clear, or, not needing to prove myself? I internally validated and confident without having to, without anyone in the room needing to approve of me, was
Mm-hmm.
already internally validated and centered
Mm-hmm.
in who I am, in my wholeness, from even a higher power, or outside of, something bigger than me. Feel that and then go in.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. Being introspective, tapping into the feeling, getting curious, right? And then grounding and centering yourself in that self-worth.
It's a pivot. It's
It's a
just a
pivot.
pivot, because we get more
Mhm.
of what we feel, and it snowballs in a good way when we
In a good
when
way.
we pivot, when we're mindful about it. It's a great exercise.
Yeah. And so for the women, a lot of women deal with, as you know, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, and the pervasive not enough mindset, as you touched upon, right? The self-worth, the I'm not enough. In the work I do, I talk about the never enough mindset, or the cycle of like, no matter what I do, no matter how much I do, no matter how much I achieve, I accomplish, it's never enough. What is there any other advice, tips, tools you would provide to women who are feeling that pain point?
I always get back to, you know, getting behind that belief a little bit. And, it doesn't have to be necessarily with a coach, or someone that does therapy with you, but getting curious behind that belief is really important. Otherwise, affirmations and these types of exercises, they will be short term. But I really
Yeah.
do think very highly of journaling, or getting curious and just saying, you know, I feel not enough, or just what are the feelings behind that? I feel panic, I feel anxious, I feel
Mhm.
no one's seeing me. Just like when, or because, and really starting to peel back the layers of it and identify, when did that feeling start and why, and then looking at that feeling, and even how old was I when I felt that? Because you will start to, we're very intuitive when we allow ourselves to know we have intuitive wisdom, and we
Sure.
can look at something and say, well, that's interesting. Just like when I was 14 on the cheerleading team and everybody made me feel like, whoa, I didn't make that, whatever it was. And I felt that way. Okay, I'm bringing that feeling back because these beliefs, our subconscious mind, when I talked about that, doesn't know how old we are. It stays in a vault. So guess what? We're high achieving women now. We're in our 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s. A feeling is a feeling. A belief is a belief. It could have been when you're 5, 10, 12, and you do not have to have necessarily trauma. We know about big and little trauma. It literally could have been a comment a teacher made, a friend made, a passing comment. It literally could have been, mom poured your brother more cereal than you, and the meaning you attached was she loves him more than you. And from there, get curious. Wow, I did feel like I wasn't the favored one. What does that mean? And from there, take responsibility, because whatever you believe, you will seek evidence to prove and validate it. Whatever it is, it's what we do. So if that truth isn't the truth about you, then let's pivot that truth, because your essence is, your divine right is to be your authentic self. And that truth, that belief, is getting in the way.
Yeah. That's so incredible. It's so incredible and so true that we carry that with us, right? We believe the stories that we've told ourselves, and it's the meaning that we've attached to those experiences that then become, to your point, sort of encoded in who we are.
Encoded. And, it helps when you have someone else
Yeah,
guide you through this.
sure.
But there are things that we can do, and even drilling, start to peel it back and ask questions and explore it.
Sure. So powerful. So Christina, what's one thing you want our listeners to consider doing differently or changing after listening to today's episode?
Get quiet and listen to your intuition. You're so intuitive, you're so wise inside. And so whether that's meditation, prayer, listening to music, going on a walk, but I think as high achieving women, we feel like, okay, on a walk, I have to listen to a podcast. I have to be
Multitask,
doing something,
right? Yeah,
but
productive.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. It has to be a productive time. As I
Yep.
cook dinner, I have to be listening to the book. And quiet time will make your life so expansive. It will open up so much more in your life. Your energy will expand. So my belief is that we are physical, spiritual, energetic beings as well. And so it just allows your energy and your space to expand, your mind to be more clear, the energy within you to be more clear. So quiet time.
Such great advice. And that can be really hard for some of us, but I think just
Yes.
starting small, right?
Start with 3 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Christina, we talk a lot about success and redefining success on this podcast. How do you define success for yourself today? And maybe how has that evolved for you over time?
It's evolved for me. Success is personal power and not circumstantial power. That's how it's evolved. And it used to be measured outside of me, and now it's measured inside of me. So through personal power is the compassion I have for myself, forgiveness for myself.
Love that.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And where can our listeners learn more about you and the work that you do?
So on LinkedIn and also Instagram, Christina.lwoods, and my website's ChristinaLwoods.com.
Amazing. Christina, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story, your insights, and your expertise. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Gia. It was a pleasure.
And of course, you can visit my website at gialacqua.com, reach out on Instagram at gialacqua. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. This is Gia signing off with gratitude for your time and energy. Our mic drops, but the movement continues. Until next time, your next chapter is waiting. Take care.
That concludes another empowering episode of Your Future Starts Now. Before we wrap up, I want to thank this incredible community of high-achieving women. Your energy, resilience, and commitment to growth are the driving force behind what we do. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate it, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your feedback fuels our mission to empower high-achieving women just like you. And of course, share Your Future Starts Now with the extraordinary women in your life who are also on a journey of healing and empowerment. Connect with us on social media, share your thoughts, let us know what topics you'd like to explore in future episodes. Stay connected on Instagram at Gia Lacqua. I encourage you to carry the energy of this conversation into your day and keep on supporting the incredible women around you. Until next time, remember, your next chapter is waiting.